iRacing right now.
He's got traction, he's going with the outside of both of them! Maloney!
Oh, he's taken Anderson! Anderson's up top
Oh my God!
Oh.
Big crash! Oh my goodness, half the field's going to get involved!
Second very close. These guys are want to make their way through the field very quickly.
Oh, there we go!
Oh no! That's massive! This is it! This is over! I can't believe this! Oh my God!
God, what?
What a place to finish a round of a championship. What a place to finish a season here. And what a way to finish 2021 in terms of seasons for the iRacing Grand Prix Series. This is a track of tracks here. The circuit de Spa-Francorchamps, we don't need any introduction for it. It's a track that's been around for many a year and has already made its statements known and why it is such an amazing circuit. I'm Jake Sperry here at SimSpeed TV. Jay Kennedy along for the ride with me tonight, here today, wherever you are around the world for this final round at a track 7 kilometers and 4 meters long. Jay, every corner holds that history and heritage, and this is probably the biggest strength of field, the biggest grid as well, that we've probably had all season long. Got 28 drivers here today, each of whom wants a victory to end the season.
Yeah, what a track this is. It's a brilliant place and so iconic. Absolutely love this track. And what a more iconic combination, a Grand Prix car around Spa. But it's going to be a fun race, 29 laps to close out the season in what's been a very, very entertaining championship the whole way through. I'm looking forward to it. It's been a little while since I've been in the booth for it, so I'm excited for it.
I'm excited as well, and you can see those corners like Campus and Stavolo down there in the second half of the lap. That run up the Kemmel Straight to Lacoum and Malmedy, and then you've got that beautiful, beautiful run down the hill at Bruxelles to get it all sorted out. But as is traditional with an iRacing race out there, with iRacing and safety rating on the line today, you've got 8 minutes to put a time in on the board, or the other option, 2 laps to put everything together. And if you can manage all of that and get a good time on the board quickly, then you should be able to get 2 in on the books as the first times come in. Championship all but decided here today with Matt Wood 104 points clear at the top of the championship, ahead of Jorge Martinez for the second consecutive year, with Diogo Oliveira third and Renato Augusto a great fourth at the moment in the championship right now. It really has gone to show that this, although it's been a runaway championship, Jay, it has been more leveled through down to the top 10. The likes of Dan Jiang and Masafumi Abarame, they have been there around those 1,300 points, scoring really, really well with consistency over the splits we've seen this season.
And it goes to show once again an iRacing official series is going to be one on consistent results and making sure that you finish as many races as you can, as opposed to having good results and not capitalizing on those bad ones. So Matt Wood and Martinez, Oliveira not racing the last few weeks. dropped him down, but he's back again tonight. He'll be looking to finish off the championship well, and with drop rounds, he's probably still not able to close that gap down to Marquez, but he's going to get very, very close for second place if Marquez doesn't have a great result. But that second half of the top 10 is very, very tight. It's going to be very, very interesting once we see what the championship is at the end, and looking forward to seeing how this one plays out.
And let's also look at that and say 5 different continents inside the top 10 of the championship. It truly is an international flair and affair here as we get things going. There is the sim racing button box car, or the iRacing dashboard car, I believe it is, of Diogo Oliveira, who's currently the fastest in qualifying right now on a 42.2 at this moment, making that drive over towards the start-finish line. It's a short drive, and that is a 2:30, and believe it or not, he does improve by about 0.03 of a second there, so enough to go quicker. Track conditions, it's 23 degrees right now. It's very, very cold, so you can get that second lap working as Ben Horrell makes his incredible run here through this fantastic next left-hander, Blanchimont. This is a bravery corner if ever you saw one.
Fantastic series of corners, and the commitment level needed through Blanchimont is so big. It's all about who's got the biggest cojones, really, isn't it? Because you've got to push so hard and just hope, trust, and pray that the car will respond to you. A very, very good finish to the lap there. Finishes in P10. Still probably just got enough time to get a second lap in.
Yeah, just for the moment, he's got about 1:35, 1:30 from this point. So it's going to be close here for Ben Horrell if he wants that second lap in. Dan Jiang currently second. Matt Wood currently third position in qualifying. Drivers like Jin Se-yuk, for example, are still out there. And we are seeing a bit of a split strategy, not by much, but a couple of drivers. Steve Giori, Dean Zayat, and Oyvind Haugland are going for the medium compound tyres. Everybody else is on the soft at this point in time, as Tamas Shane in the BMW Sauber-inspired McLaren MP430 drives it through the final chicane. Off camber through that second part makes it a devil's chicane to try and get through, and that is a 43.884. No position change, but remains down there in 22nd position. Adam Gleeson, he's always good around this circuit. He always knocks on the door in the SRT car. It's something about this place that really speaks to car number 3. As the drive to the line comes into play, it doesn't count. So Adam Gleeson couldn't quite get there. Finally, there's Ben Horrell, Jay, who's got himself about 26 seconds. He'll make it in time.
Yep, he'll make it to the end of the lap in time, and very, very good through Blanchimont. Looked very, very committed. You always can tell in these cars if the lap looks good through Blanchimont, if they can keep it within the lines really smooth. They're on a pretty decent lap, and that was a very, very good one. He will jump up 2 spots. He dropped out of the top 10. He got himself back in there again.
At the last then, so everybody done with their qualifying efforts. We can run ourselves down through the grid of 28 drivers to see where everyone is going to be stacking up today. And it is the Brazilian Diogo Oliveira who has the pole position ahead of the Australian Dan Jiang in second. Early morning for the Aussies, with Matt Wood, the champion-elect, in third, and Marco Nurmela there in 4th position. Adam Gleeson will go from 5th, with Dennis Branch in the number 6 car for Blue Flag Racing in 6th, with Tomasz Kozstron and Jorge Martinez. Poor qualifying from him, can only manage 8th place. Jin Se-yuk, the South Korean, in 9th, and Ben Horrell rounds out the top 10 with Reynaldo Augusto 11th and Luke Dowding 12th position overall. Mitchell Welker struggling a little bit in qualifying there, 13th for him, along with Anthony Cat. Thomas Vieck, the Dane, is in 15th position, along with Adam Cohn, the New Zealander. Ray Griffio is 17th. Nico Veiranen will go from 18th position overall, which leads to Jan Stratinsky and Alexander Darman in 20th position. Victor Oad, another Brazilian, there in 21st, with Tamas Shane 22nd, with Dean Zayat from Ohio and Steve Giori making it an American 12th row of the grid. Oyvind Haugland goes from 25th, with John Pat Kelly the final time in 26th, and then the Australian and the Swede not setting time, Stephen Filipovic and Isaac Rushka, are taking themselves to the back of the grid. They are determined by iRating. And what a track to have 28 cars in the early goings. This is a track which has a short run to a very, very tight hairpin at last source, which It used to be a public road. It connected the towns of Spa and Francorchamps together as they drove around this fantastic place. And this should be another case of drivers trying to get as much as they can out of this track, this place, this legendary circuit. It's not 44 laps, it's 29, so 2/3 of an official F1 distance. They will have to make a stop during the course of the race. They might not necessarily have to if they start on the mediums, but it's 2 minutes as everyone gets themselves on. They waited for Marquez, who was the last one to jump up onto the grid. But let's get ourselves going then for the final time this season. It is Spa, and it is underway as we get ourselves going. Wood with a really good launch. No good for Dan Xiang, who struggles off at the get-go and falls almost into 5th position. Wood challenging for the race lead. Not going to get there. Great start then from Oliveira, who takes the lead away. All 28 drivers make their way through turn number 1 without any troubles at all, but they have to take the rise up now through Eau Rouge, the left, Radion, the right and left, as they go up through onto the Kemmel Straight then for the first time, and be cautious about those very, very difficult off-track instant points. It's nice and clean off the get-go, and already you're seeing here just the draft and how powerful it is. Xiang trying to get back at Nurmela. Nurmela going straight on, and there's a spin. Contact with Adam Gleeson, and more troubles there as it looks like Seyuk's off 5 off the road.
Oh, this has turned into a big one with just that small little spin for Gleeson. Got Nurmela off as well, Victor Ord off as well. A few drivers involved, but at the front it's still rather tight. But that second group, they are still nose to tail there between Cosdron, Cat, Gusto, Welker, Griffey Owen all together. We're going to have to stay with this, I think.
We absolutely are. What an incredible fight we just seen there, and 2 different incidents at the same corner causing dramas early. We'll go on board then with Anthony Cat in the Chelsea car. We'll be definitely hoping it is not hammer time like it was for Chelsea today, as he now starts to make that drive, going out then through Campus Corner and through Stavolo here. He'll look behind him and see that he has got just behind Reynaldo Augusto, just in front Tomasz Cosdron, but it is completely all change towards the front of this field, and everyone will be looking for a good run. 1 lap then will be scored in the book. It'll be Diogo Oliveira who leads. It'll be Matt Wood 2nd, Dan Xiang 3rd, Jorge Marquez 4th, and Ben Horrell up there into 5th. But Jay, 2 separate incidents then. It was Nurmela going into the back then of Adam Gleeson, and on top of that it was Ben Horrell causing a chain reaction just behind as well.
That was a pretty big one too. It was
Yep, he certainly did. So there's been an incident down on lap 2, turn 1. Looks like Nico Veyranen and Ray Griffioen have come together. But let's take a look then as they make the charge. This is Jin Seyuk's view of it then as he goes on. So he's trying to get the move done then on the blue flag racing car of Dennis Branch. He gets around the outside. He does okay. But it is Horrell who outbrakes himself here into the side of, or into the back even, I should say there, of one Mr. Dennis Branch, and then effectively Jin Seyuk, a passenger, and not necessarily teammates with Thomas Wieck, both running a Mercedes livery here today, but Wieck just went off all on his own and took to the escape road. Now here's the fight for 3rd.
Yeah, good fight it is too. The front 2 have given themselves a tiny little gap, but DRS of course activated after this lap finishes. Matt Wood not quite close enough at this stage to get the DRS, but Marquez, perfect spot to use the DRS down the big straight for 3rd time in this race. We may see a very, very nice overtake.
Yeah, going up the Camel is always an opportunity. On board then with Marquez as we go over this very short front stretch. It's actually not FIA conforming to a Grade 1 circuit how short the front stretch is, but of course older tracks have more exemptions out there, and there you can see on top of your screen DRS has been enabled here as they will go through the left and right. You will see the green light there on the steering wheel says that you've got DRS. We watch that go to 4 green lights, so we'll just click away at the wrong time. There's the DRS flap opening, and now watch this. Here comes the move to the outside, easily getting it done. Dan Xiang will just have to sit and watch as this race falls away, and there goes the podium. Dowding is there, Horrell, Cosdron, all in this train, and this is a draft-centric circuit, so you want to be within a second. Oliveira's got 1.2 seconds here at the front.
Yeah, Oliveira's broken that gap away, and this is Jan Stratinsky and Thomas Shane. There was an overtake on the Camel. Shane's trying to come back and get that spot back over Stratinsky. Great to see Jan having a bit of good luck. The last few times I've been in, that has been a little while, but Jan always seems to find himself in the wrong end of the luck spectrum, doesn't he? He always seems to find himself in the bad luck side of an incident, or finds himself in trouble, often through no fault of his own.
It's been even tougher this season because he's been on the wrong side of the split more often than not when it's come to these races. Has been racing quite a bit down in second split, has done well with 56 drivers today wanting to race these McLaren MP430s. It looks like everyone then is trying to get as much as they can off of it. And what a great start that those drivers have around, the likes of Darman, Stratinsky and Shane, as here comes Marco Nurmela now, looking to try and recover his way back through the field. He picks his racecraft engineering car through with a wiggle as well over Adam Cohen here today. And Cohen rocking a different livery for this final round of the championship. We normally see him in Leighton House colours. He's not in them here today, but he'll be looking to charge. And there is Luke Dowding's turn now here as we go on to lap 4, as he looks to try and get past the Australian Dan Jiang.
You mentioned earlier, early start for Dan being in Australia. I was quite looking forward to staying in bed with it being Bathurst Day today. And 6:30 alarm didn't quite suit me too well, but very, very early start for us in Australia. But one thing that I absolutely love about this series is it's such an international series. One of the few series within iRacing where you're guaranteed to see people from all around the world in the broadcast split.
You absolutely are, and you see a whole host of different styles of livery. Thomas Cosron in the fence hard there in that 2010-inspired Renault livery, and it's all troubles there. And we'll catch that on the Virtual Racing School replay. It is so easy to switch off when you're dealing with a battle. He just lost the position to that hype car there of Ben Horrell. And it's as easy as 1, 2, 3 to go through. Cat goes through around the outside, going into Bruxelles. And then by the time he's trying to set himself up for Jackie X here, he's on that outside curb. He's grabbed a bit of grass. He's got no turn in. By the time he's realised it, it's too late. He's a passenger.
I was wondering when we started that replay whether it was actually going to be a failure of some sort, but it just never turned after he hit the grass, did it? So unfortunate there. It was a very, very easy incident to have happen. The outing hasn't been able to pull a gap that we saw. Was Martinez earlier that made the overtake of Dan Jiang, so there still potentially could get back ahead of Luke Downing with the DRS. He's probably a little bit too far back. Of course, as we've said time and time again, the DRS isn't there to give you a guaranteed overtake. It's just to help you facilitate it, give you enough to make the move yourself. Although in saying that, the Camel Straight probably is a little bit too generous for the DRS, because it does mean the overtakes are often done before the corner.
They often are, but it does also depend on setup. Jane's upside down, rolling on the roll hoop. And that is a huge accident then for Tamas Shane. All sorts of trouble for the number 19, was in 12th position. And that has come out of nowhere. Virtual Racing School replay as he goes on the straight. And this is a really, really weird one. You're going to see it right here, coming up the hill as he gets himself going forward. He just leaves himself a little bit too little room. Had the DRS open, grabbed the grass on the outside, trying to minimize as much turning as possible. And that is one which you look at and go, I'm probably going to learn from that and see that was a rookie error.
That was a strange one. I mean, it's not something we see too often. But of course, at that moment too, the opening of the DRS flap means that the downforce in the rear has disappeared. At the exact same moment, hit the grass, which means the rear of the car becomes unloaded. At the exact point, it also loses adhesion to the track. What a strange incident. What a disastrous end of the race for Tamas Shane after he was in that really good battle too.
And it just goes to show that this is one of the more difficult cars. And let's not forget as well here, Jay, that they actually turned down this car in the sim from how difficult it used to be. This used to be the sort of car where you needed an engineering degree to be quick.
Well, you still probably do. Well, well, I mean, I'm going to use that as an excuse for my lack of pace in anything, but yeah, as you said, it definitely has been tuned down. It was so difficult to understand the car and tune the car, and so much to tweak and play around with, and much more pickup and drive ability with it. Sure, you're not going to be at the top of the field if you're just doing that, but you do have a little bit more of a chance of being somewhat competitive. There's been an incident.
Thomas Veek having himself a huge moment then, so we'll have a look. And he goes up Eau Rouge through Radion here. He's just too aggressive over the curb, into the inside wall, and gets spiked up into the air there. That is a heavy incident there. And for Thomas Veek, he knows his race is done. And very fortunate for the other drivers who are going out that section that they all managed to avoid him as he bounced back onto the circuit there, Jay. It's blind crest up the hill. You'll have to be very alert when there's an incident around there like that. I've been in one of those myself.
Yeah, I've done that myself. Not in one of these cars, but definitely in something with a roof. I tell you what, wouldn't want to be in a motion sim when you do that sort of thing. Would have been a big, sickening incident. Gap at the front now, hovering between that 1.5, 1.7 seconds. But Matt Wood doesn't look like he's pushing it 100% at the moment. I think he's in a little bit of tyre conservation mode, just making sure that he manages the tyres, gets them to halfway, and then can push that extra little bit harder in the second phase of the race. He does look quite content at the moment in this P2, and of course this P2 would be enough to 110% guarantee him the championship.
If it wasn't guaranteed already, then that would definitely be a whole heap of good work being done. Cat holding on to his battle. We've got a great scrap as well down near the rear of the field as Filipovic, Ruska, Nurmala, Zayats and John Pat Kelly are all in a train. Look at the charge here from that classic McLaren livery of Zayats here. Ruska even here as he tries to get the move done. Ruska's going to go around the outside and get it done on Filipovic. Nurmala can't really need to worry too much about Zayats behind in the Red Bull-inspired livery out there, but you're really seeing here Marco Nurmala trying to really charge through. That last lap, he was 2 seconds quicker than these drivers in front. He's doing 46s at the moment, and his target probably between now and the end of this race, if he's a second of a lap quicker, should probably be around a top 10.
Well, his pace is quicker than some guys in the top 10, so even with the slight little bit of damage, and there's a move, nice easy move past Filipovic. Of course, Jake, I don't know if you saw the tweet that came out earlier in the week about the rumours that the new car may be released in the coming weeks, potentially in this new build. This could be the last. This could be the last race in the McLaren MP430.
It might be why we have 56 drivers here today trying to race it, give it a send-off and a farewell. Some great battling going on here in the middle. Now, this is interesting. This is Haugland versus Branch in the fight for 13th and 14th position. Haugland out there on the medium compound tyre compared to the soft compound tyre that is being run right now by Dennis Branch. The drivers that are out there on circuit and circulating, the only other driver who's got a medium compound tyre on is the California kid, Steve Gajori, out there on track. So Haugland at this moment in time from Club Scandinavia will be looking behind at Dennis Branch, who is very quick when he gets right down to it, who can't quite get into a position right now to attack, because it would suggest to me that the Blue Flag racing car is probably running itself quite nicely for the medium speed section of the middle sector. Going to dive down the inside for it at Bruxelles here. Little gap opening for Haugland, and Haugland's just not got enough traction through the middle of that corner. Branch getting it done at a very unconventional place.
But the exact place where if you've got your car set up really well for the medium speed corners, you can maybe make a move, especially if you've got someone that you're battling with that doesn't quite have the downforce settings that you have. So very, very good move. Now Adam Cohen trying to get the move done on Haugland, and he'll probably get it done very quickly because he looks like he's got a little bit more pace as well. Haugland, though, lowest ranked iRating driver, and in this top half of the field, that's always a good way for your night to go.
Exactly. You gain iRating that way. You gain it very, very quickly. So you're always leaving that in availabilities for you. He'll be looking behind himself right now, because that is Adam Cohen, who is going to try and get through. The New Zealander on the brakes, trying to get things sorted. And now we've got a taker in the lane. This is Mitchell Welker, who's deciding to make that stop. And an interesting time to do it. Just 9 laps on the soft. We'll be switching to a 20-lap medium compound stint. I tell you what, that is unenviable in terms of the way that this race is going to go. But for Mitchell Welker, he'll get himself out and going, but he'll be in a lot of traffic as he exits the pits.
Well, one thing I'm thinking around that decision to pit now is that he wasn't happy with something in regards to the car, and maybe it's done a bit of a tweak in regards to tyre pressure as well to make them feel a bit better and last the length. But you're right, very, very early stop. I mean, we don't usually see less than 1/3 of the race done on the soft, unless it's going to be a guaranteed 2-stop race. So we've heard that mediums may make the full distance. So unless the medium tyre just seems to hang on a lot better than the soft, it does seem probably a little bit too early.
Lazy rocket on the side, and big kick of tail. That will definitely get those rear tyres warmed up, Jay.
Definitely, you won't have to worry about trying to work the heat into the tyres if he keeps that up. He's rejoined in 18th position, and in comparison, he's around about 4 seconds behind Marco Nurmela in his recovery. So there's Nurmela there. Welker not too far behind. So it shows how far back Nurmela ended up from that incident on lap 1. I must say, who's got close again is this battle for 4th and 5th. Dowding's lost a little bit of pace over the last couple of laps. Last lap, half a second slower than Jiang just behind. And also Ben Horrell and that group behind of Cat and Augusto, they're starting to close in on these guys too. So this little battle for 4th could soon turn into a 5-car fight.
It certainly could do. And up the hill goes Dan Jiang, trying to give as much chase as possible here. It's going to get full DRS and charge up forward. We know that Jiang's a bit quicker in a straight line than what Dowding is. Would try and go around the outside to pick it up. Then at Lei Coombe, not going to happen this time going through. But that was a very good sight. It just struggled a little bit through Oruge and Radion, scrubbed about a 10th and had to really try and gather it back up with the DRS. A cleaner run through there, and Dan Jiang's got 4th place lock and key.
Definitely. Adam Cohen was getting very, very close as well to making the move, and Welker's just made his move through. So, yeah, I don't know what's happened with Dowding's lack of pace in the last lap and a half. It's just dropped off, hasn't it? So maybe that pit stop from Welker is actually tyre related, and we're just seeing Dowding may have pushed too hard.
Might be the case, and it'll be something we'll be seeing as drivers struggle maybe a little bit more on this set. They only have to go, though, to about lap 14 to get the full benefit of a soft run today. So that will certainly be helping. That is the gap for the race lead right now between Diogo Oliveira and the champion-elect in Matt Wood, reigning champion as well he is. And that gap is 2 seconds now for the first time. Jiang all over the back end with the Simicube-sponsored car, and looking to really try and get as much of a run. Looking to angle to the inside at turn number 1, just trying to get wide in the mirrors. And it's worked. It has absolutely worked. He's managed to force wide Luke Dowding there. So the first rule of sim racing is don't hit your teammate. The second is don't hit your teammate. The third is, if you're trying to go for a move, make your car as wide as possible. And just like this, Dan Jiang has opened up this opportunity for the Camel Straight. He'll move to the inside here, trying to pick this move off. And this should be, thank you very much, my lovely, no it won't, contacts they go through. Jiang was trying to pinch and he finds himself in trouble.
Yeah, I don't know if Jiang was trying to pinch. I think, Jiang was trying to pinch. He just sort of came across a little bit. Dowding was on the white line and he wasn't going to move over for Dan Jiang. And that was a strange little overtake too, because Jiang waited till the absolute last second too to pull out and potentially make that move too. So he was always running the risk, especially with Jiang being on the complete opposite side of the world of almost everyone else in the field. Is one thing that will happen in internet racing, is those sort of incidents. So unfortunate for Jiang. He was doing well to get himself back up into the top 4. Going to have to work very, very hard to close that back down as we look at the battle for 5th, 6th and 7th, which is still very, very close.
Certainly is, and Anthony Cat here on the soft. It's not often that we see Anthony Cat decide to take the conventional route in terms of strategy. He's got Ben Horrell just in front, and this is the key to Anthony Cat's race right now. He is using Ben Horrell right now as a way to just stay calm, keep this race all in check, as into the pits comes Luke Dowding from 4th position on the road. So he is the first of the real leaders to come in and make a stop. Cat is using Ben Horrell fantastically in this race here, Jay, to stave off Augusto.
You know, I'm wondering if Dowding's decided to come in just to 100% make sure that he doesn't have any damage to the car. Better off getting it fixed as soon as he can, rather than do a couple of laps at slower pace, especially with how competitive these guys were at catching anyway. But yeah, Anthony Cat, Ronaldo Augusto, the DRS is just enough for them to keep up, but Ben Horrell's probably got the pace, and I think the DRS has just been all the difference is between Horrell breaking away from these guys and Cat and Augusto staying with. But I think Augusto probably has a tiny little bit more pace than Anthony Cat, just can't do anything because double draft is great, but that means double dirty air.
Certainly does, and when you get 2 lots of it hitting against you, you get a lot of understeer, and the troubles are there as we go on board with Ronaldo Augusto trying to make that challenge through. And I really do love the development of Brazilian sim racing. They've got their own dedicated broadcast, they've got their own dedicated championships that go through. It's such an incredible level to go through and battle and challenge and absolutely everything that goes along with that. And it also comes through with the understanding that they're getting 2 Brazilian stock cars into the iRacing sim. And on top of that as well here, Jay, of course, the news breaking yesterday that we're getting a Honda and a Hyundai.
Can't wait for the new TCRs. We might even see you back out on track in one, maybe one day, Sperry. Get the old controller. Get the controller out and have another go. Oh, brake lock up for Ben Horrell, but I don't think it's going to cost him any time. But one thing to remember is this straight, even as short as it is, does have DRS. It doesn't really do enough to gain you an advantage, but what it does do, it just brings you up that tiny little bit closer so that you're close enough to get a run or a bit better of a run in through Eau Rouge Radion and maybe be able to get the move done on the Camel Straight. You're never going to see overtakes into turn 1 because of the DRS, but what it does do brings the likes of Anthony Cat up that tiny little bit closer, maybe half a tenth, which may be the difference between being able to get this done and not.
Oh, look at that, trying to go the long way around as there is Horrell unable to say no to it. Anthony Cat then moves up to 4th position at this point in time on the road, and all of a sudden, back there is Ronaldo Augusto trying to get through. Horrell trying to get back there at Bruchel's, not going to quite get there, but now it's Anthony Cat's turn at the front. And that's an important time to make a move as well, Jay, because this would be the sort of time where if you make that move, you get yourself track position to dive into the pits.
100%. You want to be the lead car at the point of pit stops because you can control the pace of the guys coming into the lane. I always find that when I'm second car back, I'm finding myself putting the limiter on a little bit earlier because you don't want to be the one that runs into someone in pit lane. So if you're the second or third car back, you always find yourself being a little bit more cautious than you probably should be. Interesting too, we just saw Luke Dowding coming in a couple of laps ago. He's come back out on the soft, so he's going to have to do 17, 18 laps on the soft tyre. That is probably the absolute 100% limit for those tyres as Marquez comes in for a new set of tyres after 13 laps complete.
He certainly will do, but we stay on this battle right now, and Ben Horrell decides he wants to dive into the pits, and you know what? I don't blame him. Dan Jiang as well goes there in the back of shot into the pit lane. So we're seeing a lot of drives making stops now. The issue for Dowding here is he's had to make a lot of overtakes over the course of this lap. He's just got through Oyvind Haugland trying to get a move done. He's actually overshot it, so it might be that some drivers will get a bit of an advantage here based on Dowding, and these drivers staying out might be good. They're coming out of the pits then, just ahead of Dennis Branch. Sorry, no, that's Jan Stratinsky there will be Jorge Marquez. There is Luke Dowding right now, and the issue that he's got here is that he is a little bit ahead of Welker, but he's actually got a really quick driver behind in the form of Marco Nurmela.
Look at this too. Denjiang's come out right with Ben Horrell. Horrell had a really long stop, 10 seconds. So I'm guessing he's got that front wing changed after the lap 1 incident. It's dropped him back into the clutches of Denjiang. Of course, because they've coming out of the pits so close. They will have DRS. But very, very interesting little pack here. You got Filipovic and John Kelly. Oh, no! Cold tyres, claim victim, Ben Horrell again.
Ben Horrell in a world of hurt. It was no contact as he went through, just a back stepped out. Jiang did really well to get out of it actually here. And watch here on the Virtual Racing Score replay. This is how quickly it can go wrong. Just a little bit too hard. Rear goes away. And Jiang, I think he's just caught the tyre. But outside of that, I think he's done a brilliant job to get out of that. That is as great reactions as I think we've seen all season.
100%. That was brilliant to not end up just T-boning the car and ending up out of the race. The leaders are pitting. So Oliveira's in, Wood's in, Cat's in, Augusto's in. See if Darman comes in here.
Darman is coming in.
Yep, and Augusto almost made contact with him there. That was very, very tight. Stratinsky in. Steve Gigori, the only driver in the top 10 or so that has not pitted yet.
Yeah, and of course Gigori started this race on the mediums, so he'll definitely not be pitting for a while, if not at all, here in this one. TQ Engineering car making some good progress then, moving on forward. Hoagland as well, yet to pit, and it's interesting to see where drivers come out. Welker's first stop, number 13, has really done wonders here. He's come out ahead of Cat and Augusto and Jiang and Horrell. And this is what the strategy was there. Get off those tyres quickly, go on to the mediums, and you'd feel that if you can survive this opening phase of the second half of the race, you should be good when those soft tyres decide they want to start finding cliffs.
The only issue is the guys behind him are on brand new softs and he's on slightly used mediums, so he will have to be a little bit concerned about the pace that these guys behind will have. But Welker's always up for the fight and always up for the challenge, so it'll be interesting to watch and see as we've passed the halfway point of the race. Interesting, the gap before the pit stops between Oliveira and Wood was around about 1.7, 1.8 still. They came out of the pits at around about the same gap, but on this outlap, Matt Wood's lost nearly a full second, is now at to 2.4 seconds. So Matt Wood lost a little bit of ground to Oliveira on the outlap.
Yeah, he definitely has, and that's going to be tough to claw back in this one. Matt Wood has been a race manager over the course of this, and we know as well that Oliveira traditionally is a very heavy user of tyres, but he's done a good job today getting those softs to work. Martinez currently in third. Fourth is Guyori, but that could be Luke Dowding soon, and the battle continuing on, and that is Oyvind Hoagland just in front. So this is now a four-car scrap. Hoagland on the super old mediums, Welker on the relatively newer mediums, and then you got the two soft runners of Augusto and Cat. This is going to be awkward as Hoagland runs a little bit wider coming out of the last source hairpin, and as they charge up this fantastic section of road, Eau Rouge and Radion, it's very much there in terms of how you challenge. Is there going to be a look then from Welker? Surely with the DRS there will be. And the question will be, can Anthony Cat also follow in the tracks then as they try and get past the Scandinavian, which is also something that you do if you've got barcodes on your submarines. But there goes one, there goes two. Thank you very much. There goes a pass.
Hoagland might lose all three in one hit here, no. Holds on to the spot from Augusto, and Augusto will be livid that he didn't get through there as well, so he'll be worried that he's going to lose the back of Anthony Cat, and already is over a second behind, so all the hard work from Augusto in the early phase of the race to hang on and apply pressure to Cat. Very, very good, strong outlap as well. At the moment, all for nothing. He's going to get through. Yep, move done. Hoagland saw there was no need to fight there. It wasn't his battle to be involved in, especially with the older tyres. A couple of guys further back are the ones that he's probably really battling with. Probably the likes of Ben Horrell. But Dan Jiang will probably get past just as easy.
Yeah, and Hoagland in this really struggling phase of the race where tyres are falling away. Drivers who are quicker, naturally out there on circuit and on better tyres will just breeze on through. You need a lot of patience if you're going to run a medium compound strategy. And again, he just outbrakes himself into this section. Those tyres are shot. He's diving in the pits.
He's decided that the pace isn't there at all. He's not happy with the grip level and decides, well, I might as well take the little bit of pain now and enjoy the race a little bit more later on. Interesting phase of the race here as everyone tries to find their feet after the pit stops. Battle back in the field. Quite heated here between Filipovic and Ruska. Filipovic has been involved in a couple of little things throughout, and Ruska earlier in that beautiful McLaren livery. Made a nice overtake down the Camel earlier as well.
And it seems the livery that Stephen Filipovic is running, he's joined forces with Adam Cohen out there. So an Oz-NZ partnership then, and a brand new team here for the efforts that will be put forward. They will make the charge then, Will Filipovic here in the number 18 machine, trying to get to the 27 of the Swedish driver there of Isak Ruska. And just struggling there to get anywhere near on the straight there. A lot of dirty air going through Eau Rouge and Radion. That's indicative of a number of things.
And interesting too, Haugland's not far away as he's come out of the pits just to head up there. So these two guys will probably think, hang on, we need to work together for a couple of seconds to close that up. So they'll be seeing if they can close that gap down to a second just ahead at the moment at 1.5 seconds. Of course, a little bit away from the DRS zone as Nurmela, his recovery drive. That is, now that he's through, what a move. He's now up into 14th position. P10, we said earlier, was the goal. Well, Steve Giori's coming in, so he's decided that tyres are no good. Anthony Cat, Mitchell Welker side by side. We said that Welker was going to struggle. This will be a fairly easy move here for Anthony Cat. The one time the DRS might actually mean a move into turn 1 can happen. Is or not.
No, it isn't.
What
there
it is. I don't even know what I was about to say now. I've lost my train of thought.
It doesn't matter too much there. Mitchell Welker effectively being held back for a 5-yard penalty there in terms of that overtake. But because he was behind, he's going to get the DRS here on this straight. So very clever work then from the medium tyre runner. It's going to move to the left-hand side. Anthony Cat almost foiled, but he's a lot better on the brakes going through. It's going to be a squeeze and there's contact.
Oh, no.
And Welker goes around and he's not happy on the radio about it. But he put his car in a position there, you'd say, Jay, where he couldn't quite get any more out of the tyre on that inside line. That
was just the difference between new and old tyres, wasn't it? It's just the beautiful new soft tyre, only 3 laps old. They're going to have so much more grip, and fighting it on 10 odd, so lap old mediums is always going to be a struggle. But unfortunately, I do remember what I was trying to say. Marco Nurmela is only 3.5 seconds away from that top 10 that we talked about earlier.
Absolutely, and that's going to be key. And Dennis Branch getting on the radio a little bit there in terms of the move. And I'll tell you why. It's because Nurmela has just made a 3-wide pass on the Camel to get it done against Dennis Branch and Steve Giori, who'd just come out of the pit. So get a load of this. Branch gets his move done, and Nurmela here decides he doesn't want to wait. He goes up the Camel straight. He sees the gap just slightly open up. And you know what? He muscles his way through. Bit of contact trying to get by, but he muscled his way through.
Made sure that he was going to get that move done one way or another. He didn't care how aggressive he did it. Now into 12th position. And just ahead, you can see that car at the front there. That's Thurman. That is P10. So Nurmela is not far away now. 2.5 odd seconds. We go back to Cat and Augusto. They were about 1.5 seconds apart when Augusto got past Dan Jiang. But you can see now, that's not 1.5 seconds. DRS is open. It's 2/10.
Well, it was before a very early break from Augusto, just lisking it off and trying to save as much as possible. Jiang, of course, being in the mix is always going to be very, very scary, and it's always going to be worth the waiting goal. Now, here's troubles for Dennis Branch. He loses the position to Giori. Adam Cohen, just behind, was trying to work out a way through as well. And he couldn't quite get that car into position to get one back. But here's the pitfalls of racing like this, where you're so draft dependent. It's very much like a super speedway. Positioning is just as important as overall pace.
Understanding the exact point of the DRS activation zones is just as important too, because we saw that little thing from Mitchell Welker earlier. He knew where the DRS activation point was and just made sure that he was behind the other car to make sure that he was okay as well. Welker's had another issue. Slow out on the circuit at the moment.
Oh, that's at Stavolo. And that's all on his own. And it looks like he's looped the car on the AstroTurf then, going through. Let's have a look on the Virtual Racing School replay then, see exactly how this comes along. So we'll go on board, and this is why you can't push too hard through the campus corner here. You just get a little bit too much. Back's trying to step out. He's trying everything to go and save it, but the reaction times are just not there. Does slam into those tyres and keeps it going somewhat, and it's very much the rallycross style of trying to get it back on track. But as far as rallycross goes here at Spa, the rallycross circuit's up at Eau Rouge and Radion. It's not all the way down there at the bottom of the circuit over by Stavelot.
A little bit of a weird one, probably quarter of a wheel touching the AstroTurf on the outside, and around he went. Now, normally you can see there is now into 11th. Of course, Welko was the car that he got past. Just ahead, you can see Stratinsky trying to make a move on Darman. Was nowhere near close enough to getting it done, but what that means is top 10 for Nurmela is not only possible, it's within sight.
Certainly is, and that's going to be crucial then in terms of how he gets back through this race, because he's been right down at the back from the early stages, and I don't know who it was that said he could get to a top 10, but he's right there now, trying to get it sorted here. And this recovery, probably one of the greater drives, because it doesn't only mean that he's trying to get through. Look at that, having to go hard to the inside of the Canadian there, and there's contact. Stratinsky going around with a big slide. I'm not sure if they actually did. They did there, so a bit of front to rear contact, and Nurmela, doesn't matter how, they ask you how many, he gets back inside the top 10.
Yori's right there, though, to try and take advantage, and Stratinsky's now got Welker and Branch and Cohen all together. So we've got 6 cars within 3 seconds here now, all fighting for a top 10 spot.
Absolutely. This is what sim racing's all about, and that's why you watch with us here at SimSpeed TV. With 9 laps to go here at the circuit Spa-Francorchamps, Diogo Oliveira leads by 3.5 seconds over Matt Wood in this race. Jorge Martinez in third at the moment. But this is where all the fun is happening right now. Nurmela to Giori to Stratinsky to Welker to Branch to Cohen. All of them want to move on this straight. There might be some tears.
Yeah, I think so. Almost looked like Welker was going to run into the back of Jan Stratinsky there too, and had to back out of it at the last second. But 5 of the 6 cars with DRS here, you can just feel this is going to get real messy real quick. Adam Cohen trying to get done. Everyone else is just staying single file. They know there's no point fighting at this stage, and Adam Cohen threw on Dennis Branch, but nope, they're going to keep fighting.
All the way through Malmedy. That's just Adam Cohen out braking himself, and they'll fight all the way to this section of road, and this is where Dennis Branch is better on the inside. He'll hold the place, but you ask at what cost here, Jay? He's lost contact to Welker and Stratinsky.
Yeah, those situations, sure, it's great to fight and hold your position, but now you've lost DRS and you've got nothing to fight for ahead. He had to let Cohen through, might have been able to stick with in the DRS range. They'd both be able to close up and continue on and push as a group. So, interesting that that whole pack is actually spread out away, because remember how we said Dan Jiang was at the back watching? He's not watching anymore. He's in this fight for 5th.
Very much is. He's decided to step through the screen, as it were, bring himself into the fight. On the brakes then, through turn number 1 here, last source hairpin, and then down the hill, and then back up it again. You see past the endurance pits there on the right-hand side, and the left and right continues. Eau Rouge, Radion, and then onto the Camel Straight then. They will go through. But the issue for Jiang is that guy there in red in the F1 Apps car, he's got DRS, unfortunately, that drag reduction system, and no chances there. Tell you what, though, Ben Horrell here has himself a bit of a nightmare. It's Alexander Darman, who was about 0.7 of a second quicker over that last lap. He's going to absolutely breeze through on that straight. That is a great move then from him as he jumps up another very, very important position. Car 25 is in position number 8.
Done a very good job. Adam Cohen finally got through on Dennis Branch as well. So, yeah, what a drive from Darman. Done a brilliant job throughout this race. And not only is he in the 8th, he started way back in the field as well in P20.
Absolutely, and it
One of the biggest
just
movers.
goes to show on what is a very much an iRacing basic style livery in terms of what he's got on right now, Jay. He's the sort of guy that if I were looking to try and bolster a division and try and build up my team and get a bit of help, that's the sort of guy I'd pick up.
Yep, 100%. It's just sort of the driver that you look for and try and get to add into your team. Someone that's up and coming and can make moves, can make overtakes, and isn't scared of the big boys in the series, and we'll put on the big boy pants and battle away with them. So, done a very, very good job. Augusto, close enough to Anthony Cat here. Dan Chiang, it almost looks like he's just decided, hey, I'm just going to drop back a little bit, just watch you two fight it out, and hopefully I'll just get past both of you when you come together, because that is a high possibility with how we've seen this race play out.
Well, it depends on how you get there first. Augusto then in line. There's the DRS marker board, and on it goes. And immediately, Cat's trying to put the serpentine on. Get that down to the inside, not enough. Needed an extra about 100 meters on that straight, and he could have had a lunge there, could Reynaldo Augusto. Unfortunately, with how it is, it's not going to happen. But now Horrell's looking behind, and here's Marco Nurmela looking for 9th place. So another look for the Racecraft engineering car, trying to get this move sorted. Straight up there on the inside. Tell you what, the way that Nurmela is making these moves through the field, oh, in the wall! Just like that, there goes Alexander Darman.
I'll tell you what, that's commentator's curse. I'm putting that on you, Sperry. You can take that one.
My apologies. My apologies, I'll take that one. Darman was having such a great race, but the back just goes unsettled through Lekum. You're going to watch this right now as he makes the drive here, going through into Lekum. He's okay through the first part here, through this right. It's the left where he struggles. The back starts to step out, and by the time he thinks he's got it settled here, there's such a fine line between pivoting the car over there, Jay, to the left to get as much you can out to the right, or what effectively just happened right there, which was car goes to the left, and the car's not going to turn anymore. You've got no chance.
That was a weird one, wasn't it? I think he just took too much curb on the inside and unsettled the car and just over-rotated it. So you quite often see guys will use that curb at the second part to help rotate the car. But there's a fine line between enough curb to help rotate the car and enough curb to rotate the car in a different way. And that was the second option, the full rotation. And of course, you're full throttle at that point too in these cars. So unfortunately,
here we go.
Oh, not quite there.
He'll get a chance though if he can just set it up, but he can't. So they are tripping over each other now with that sort of half attempt of a move from Reynaldo Augusto, who was lining it up, trying to angle it, and Jiang all of a sudden in the orange there, the papaya orange, gets back into the groove and onto the back of this group. This is a really important scrap right now. This is 5th, 6th and 7th, and they know that all of these drivers have had somewhat of a race. I'll tell you what, give you credit right now. Luke Dowding, Anthony Cat, Reynaldo Augusto, 4th, 5th and 6th, all three of them started outside the top 10.
Yeah, it's been a strange one, hasn't it? I mean, we had Cosdron, Gleason and Jin Se-yuk all out of the race early, who started in the top 10. Dennis Branch started in the top 10. He's back in the field now as well, and he's just lost another spot, Victor Ord. So Dennis Branch is definitely struggling. There's obviously some damage that we can't quite see to his car because his pace has just dropped off from where he was not that long ago. So Dennis Branch is struggling, but this battle here, oh gee, that was close. I thought Dan Chiang was just about to take Reynaldo Augusto off the road there.
Well, they're really showing that it's fine margins in terms of battles like these, and they don't have long. They got 5 laps to figure out how they're going to get by and sort out those positions. Big slide off the exit there by Dan Jiang, really using the rear traction to try and keep the car settled out there on the circuit. So very important as they go up the hill once again. Eau Rouge, Radion, and on towards then the Camel Straight once again. It's about where you want to make the move, and it's about how you position yourself to get through. Of course, we saw the longest ever over the course of this last week Chess World Championship match between Jan Nepomniachtchi and Magnus Carlsen. It's very much a similar play. It's almost like you're trying to make moves right now here, Jay, to get time on the clock to go and manage to make an overtake.
You're not necessarily trying to set up your actual move yourself. You're trying to unsettle your opponent into thinking you're going to make the move, and then you catch them off guard when you actually try and do it. It's not about setting up for the one play and the one move. You're trying to think 3 moves ahead. Of course, 5 laps to go. you don't necessarily want to be the lead car in the group on to start the last lap, because you may lose that spot back down the Camels. So these guys are probably thinking towards that last lap and counting the race backwards and trying to work out where they want to position the car. I tell you what, Augusto, aggressive there. We saw Welker had a massive moment with the exact same running into the AstroTurf as Augusto had there. But Augusto was able to hold on, just probably didn't quite put the throttle in, and that's why he's dropped that gap. And Dan Jiang ready to pounce for this move, maybe get it done into the bus stop.
Oh, hello. Thought about it, but
mistake.
Backed out of it. But here we go. Augusto overshoots it. Thank you. That's a move done. Augusto has to yield it. Dan Jiang flying on through. I was going to talk about Welker for a moment as he's fighting Adam Cohen, but what a great move that is from Dan Jiang. Moves himself back into the top 5 with that pass, and that is what opportunity gives you. You angle to that inside, you hope that the car in front makes a mistake, and he got exactly what he wanted.
Well, he just forced an error out of Augusto just by positioning his car coming into the bus stop. Yes, I'm going to make the move. He was never intending on making the move, but visually to you and I and to Augusto, well, he's there, he's going to make the move. I better give him some space. Hang on, he's not there. And then by then, Augusto's already made the error and forced himself wide. Dan Jiang gets through. Positional change. So, again, that's thinking 2 moves ahead. Trying to force your opponent into an error.
Very much like how Eddie Guerrero used to slam the chair down on the mat and fall over as if he'd been shot. Off the road, though, goes Stratinsky. Horrell now is going to get a chance here to go back around the outside here as they fight. Look at this. It is Piccadilly Circus at rush hour as they go through. Welker's there. Cohen going around the outside. And then you've got on the back of this Howard as well. And it's still going on. Look at this from Horrell trying to go and get it done. He's just got enough room and he's there. Now here comes Welker with a look and he's all over the radio. Please pick a lane as they go through, and almost contact there as Cohen gets right up underneath. Suddenly, it's a 6-car fight.
What a battle this has turned into. It was fairly strung out, and then all of a sudden, all hell breaks loose and everyone's trying to fight and battle for position as they'll approach up for 3 laps to go. Not much left in this one. These guys will want to fight this out, sort this out very quickly. And when you said before it was 6-car battle, now scrap that, it's now 7. And they are fighting for the last spot in the top 10 in this race.
Oh, Horrell's going to go around the outside here, trying to get this one sorted.
Oh, no.
Oh, contact! Horrell straight off here, and Blanchimont comes back across the circuit and avoids everyone. Huge accident then at the fastest point of the track.
And it's still going between all these guys in that pack too. So now back to 6 cars. Stratinsky, Welker, Cohen, Ord and Branch is ahead. Dan Jiang's just got past Anthony Capp with the DRS assistance. But what a fight this is for the top 10.
Wow, and Ben Horrell is absolutely incensed on the radio as we'll get a look at the Virtual Racing School replay here. And understandable, his race is over and done with. But the question is, does he get alongside enough here? And who really puts themselves in the wrong position at the wrong time? He gets to the inside here. They leave each other enough room. And then bang, there's the contact. And there's not really much you can do if you're Ben Horrell at that point. Meanwhile, here was Dan Jiang, just with the easiest DRS overtake that I think he's got. He had to do it the long way around, though. And he got the run and beautifully sorted.
And I've got the feeling...
Oh, and Branch is out now as well.
Oh, no.
So, Awad, so it's Awad here who's gone into the side of Adam Cohen, and as Cohen has drifted across the circuit, Branch just nowhere to go on the outside at Lake Coombe.
What a strange 3 minutes of racing. That's a huge dive bomb. There was never, ever a chance of that working. Missed the apex, and then said contact, and then secondary contact, and Branches around and in the fence. And car damaged.
Car done. And it's just a really frustrating one. This is always going to be a tough race today when 28 drivers show up. A little bit more room needs to be given and, you know, fine margins in the final race. No such worries here for this driver. A lap and a half away from victory. We haven't really needed to show him so much. It was very much a very similar case here, Jay, to when, for example, the Force Indias had a fight with Bernie Eccleston, and Bernie said, no, we're just not going to show the Force Indias today. It's very much been that sort of race right now for Diogo Oliveira. We haven't need to talk about him because he's just been ahead by over a second since the very beginning.
We often say that if you don't get any TV time when you're in the lead, you've had a pretty good race because you're just out in a little world of your own and just doing your own thing. I mean, it's not necessarily a good thing, but it is because it's been a nice, smooth, controlled race. One thing I was going to pay attention to around that Dean Ziat's facing the wrong way is earlier, Diogo Oliveira did 3 laps almost identical, all at fastest lap pace, back to back, but didn't really get a chance to talk about it. Did a 1:44.09, 1:44.091, and a 1:44.1. So he's very, very good pace in this race as Oliveira. Matt Wood just hasn't quite been able to find that extra tenth to match the pace.
He doesn't need it to, though. A victory would have been nice for Matt Wood, but he's already got his championship secure. They're in second position, and he knows that today it's not about the battle, it's about the war, and it's one that he's won through sheer consistency over the course of this season. But here is Diogo Oliveira making his way now from the highest point of the circuit and starts descending down into the Ardennes here, moving through this left. We talk about this track being on the road to Liège-Bastogne-Liège, the famous cycling crown classic, which goes along with the Amstel Gold Race and La Flèche Wallonne. This has been a sort of race where you could say for Diogo Oliveira, he has had to master the hills. He has mastered everything fantastically. He broke away early and nobody has been able to see him since in terms of the way he drives through the campus corner here for what could be the final time in a McLaren MP430. And through the next right-hander as they go through. Great battling going on still. That looks like it's Dan Jiang, and that's Luke Dowding in all sorts of trouble as his tyres start to let go on the final lap. But for Diogo Oliveira, who rounds through Blanchimont and just has one small chicane to manage through, this will be a sign of things to come for him as he takes the final corner. It's the former pro Stripe that will take the victory. Oliveira wins at Spa ahead of Matt Wood. And troubles for Luke Dowding late means that now Anthony Catt here has just got to find a way through. Matt Wood is your champion this season, but now the battle comes along. Anthony Catt's got one chance, one opportunity.
Yep, but the big advantage he's got is that Dowding's got no tyre left at all. Remember, Dowding was the first to pit for those soft tyres. You said it's going to be a struggle for him to do 17 laps with those tyres. Well, this is the 18th lap on the stint.
Straight on.
And I think that is 100% no tyre left at all. And he might lose another spot here to Augusto as well. Here comes the line, and he's going to lose it because he still hasn't cleared that slowdown.
No, he hasn't. And that is very, very crucial here in terms of how this race goes. You've got to hold on. He looked like he was clear with about 3 laps to go. He had about 6 seconds, and still not over here is Horgland, who, remember, has got the freshest tyres of anybody here. He's got to get past Jan Stratinsky. He'll look to the outside potentially, trying to get this one sorted. Late as you like on the brakes, trying to get it sorted. It's going to be a squeeze. There's a bit of contact, and Horgland gets through on Stratinsky, who was trying to shut him out there on that outside line eventually, just not having it. Horgland will take that extra place, but there is your winner, Diogo Oliveira. And what a hectic race we have found ourselves with. What an important time. We have also had troubles for Victor Howard coming towards the line. He's got heavy damage as well, but everyone should be over the line. Diogo Oliveira then will get the victory sorted here in a time of 51 minutes and 5 seconds and wins by 2.3 in the end over Matt Wood, who is your champion for the second consecutive season. Jorge Martinez will take third and confirm second in the championship, with Dan Jiang in 4th position. A great fight back after a slow start and a spin, with Anthony Catt in 5th and Reynaldo Augusto in 6th. Luke Dowding will take 7th. Troubles for him over the final couple of laps as his tyres let go. And what a recovery for Marco Nurmler. He was backwards on lap 1. He managed to come back and finish in 8th place, did the Finn for Racecraft Engineering. Give a shout out as well to Steve Giori. Started all the way back in 24th position, qualified on the medium tyre, and made the strategy work to gain 15 spots, the largest gain in the field today, with Mitchell Welker rounding out the top 10 in a very eventful race for him. It would be then in 11th, Oyvind Horgland, who would take that ahead of the Canadian Jan Stratinsky, with Stephen Filipovic 13th and John Pat Kelly in 14th position. Adam Cohen will take 15th with Isak Ruska in 16th, and Victor Awad, after finding troubles over at Bruxelles on the final lap, ultimately drops back to 17th. One lap down is Dean Zayat. We saw him spun coming on to the start of the final lap, and now we start hitting the retirees. Dennis Branch, no fault of his own. Ben Horrell, after that high-speed major crash, very similar to Luciano Berti's accident in 2001 for Jaguar, there he finds himself out in 20th, along with the likes of Alexander Darman, Nico Veyranen, Thomas Veek out of the race, Tamas Shane, Tomasz Kolstron. Apparently, if your name is Thomas or Tamas or Tomasz, it's not your day today. It really wasn't your day. Adam Gleeson, Ray Griffioen, and finally Jinsei Yuk, then ending out the race in 28th position. And that will put the end to what has been another important season. But Jay, we don't know whether it's going to be a McLaren or a Mercedes that we jump on with next season when it comes to the iRacing Grand Prix Series. But what we do know and understand in terms of how drivers have had to battle over the course of this season is that it's very, very easy to look at this and say, oh, you're driving a Formula One car, how hard can it be? Even though they've brought this car to a level where they brought it back after the Williams FW31 had a little renaissance period and said, we've had to rework this car, we've reworked it, we bring it back. I think the racing since we've had this McLaren MP430 has been absolutely stellar.
I won't be upset if we've got another season of this car, to be honest. It's been absolutely brilliant the last couple of seasons since they made the changes to the cars, and we've seen an influx of new names into the series, and as I said before, one of the most truly international fields you can find in iRacing in this time slot. We've seen pretty much every single continent represented: North America, South America, Europe, Asia, Australasia. We just need to find a South African driver or an African driver to join us, and we'll have the full complement of drivers. But you're pretty much guaranteed to seeing 5 continents represented each and every week. I can't think of any other series where Top Split has that each and every week. It's so fun. Love this series, and cannot wait for round 1 next season in 2 weeks. As you said, we don't know what car. I don't even know what track. I just went to have a little sneaky look, and I can't find the schedule yet. It hasn't been announced, so going to be in for a nice surprise next season.
We certainly are, and you can catch that with us here at SimSpeed TV to get yourself up to date with all of what is going on. There's a lot of stuff that's going on top of that here with the crew at SimSpeed. We have a whole heap of everything, and of course, for those Australians, happy Bathurst Day. Hope that you enjoy all of the racing with Chaz Mostert and pole position and all of the rest of the battles that will come along with that. But from the iRacing Open Wheel community, who have been so fantastic in getting the Grand Prix Series here to us at SimSpeed TV, from the Virtual Racing School, who are our sponsors for this year on the replays, who have been absolutely fantastic, and of course, to Jake Kennedy, who's got up at the early hours of the morning to jump in alongside with myself, Jake Sperry. It's been a pleasure to bring you another season of the iRacing Grand Prix Series. Back to back for Matt Wood. He proved that he was fully focused on defending that crown. When the likes of Marquez had to fight for the Dallara Championship, he knew that he had himself a free ticket to put all of the effort in. And my goodness, did he go out there and shine with great talent. But it's not as simple as what do you do next season. We do not know what car it will be. We do not know what tracks it will be. But what we do know is it will be special. We'll see you next time we're with you here with us at SimSpeed TV.
Fantastic. This is GT racing right now.
He's got traction, he's going in the outside, both of them! Maloney!
Oh, he's taking Anderson. Anderson's up to him.
Oh my God!
Big crash. Oh my goodness, half the field's going to get rolled.
Second very close. These guys are want to make their way through the field very quickly.
Oh, there we go!
Oh no!
That's massive! This is it! This is over! I can't believe this! Oh my God!
God, what?